family, welcome back to my channel, Gracefully Out There. I want to welcome you all today into another beautiful, wonderful, great segment with my very self, Gracefully Out There. Today we're going to be talking about self-development. We're going to be analyzing, we're going to be dropping some few tips about self-development. Remember, we all need to develop ourselves daily because it is going to help us to accomplish every goals that we have set out to accomplish in life. But before we go into our tips today, to all our returning subscribers, I want to say God bless you all for tuning in over and over and over again to watch our video. And to you watching, if you're not a member of this channel, please kindly hit the subscribe button below. Put on our notification bell so that whenever we drop a video, you will be number one to be aware of our videos. Like I said, today we're going to be talking about self-development, and I'm going to be dropping just 3 tips about self-development that will encourage you, that will empower you to be able to carry on your goals. But remember, self-development is the ability to put yourself together or to change the things that are not right in your life to make them to become right. We all need improvement in our lives, and we can only improve ourselves if we are willing to do it. Developing yourself is all about you. It's not all about the sister or the brother watching me. It is all about me putting my quarter to make myself to become who really I want it to be. So number 1 tips today I'm going to be dropping is all about evaluating yourself. Number 1 tips today is all about evaluating yourself. How do I mean by evaluating yourself? You have to bring out yourself like a chess, or you're going to play a game called this seed game. We might call it Oludo or whatever game you might want to put in this very place called evaluation. Bring out yourself. You have to scatter yourself. You have to look at the areas in your life that you need improvement. You need to evaluate yourself by yourself. You need to look at the place you need to fix. You need to know where you're falling, where you need to make amends, where you need to change, where you need to do one thing or the other, or how long have you been falling? When you can be able to evaluate yourself, you can be able to know what to do. That's number 1 tip. It's one of the basic tips I want to drop for you today. It is good for we as an individual to take a time to evaluate ourselves at the point we are. When you can be able to evaluate yourself, you can be able to see where you're falling, or the things you're not doing right, or the things that you have acquired. It will encourage you to do more better, or it will empower you to change the areas that you are missing it. That is why self-evaluation is very important in our life. To develop yourself, you need to first evaluate yourself. Look at how far you've come. Look at where you're falling. Look at what are the things you need to put right where you are right now. When you are able to evaluate yourself, you can be able to acquire any goal you set out to acquire. That's number 1 tip, self-evaluation. Learn to always evaluate yourself daily or weekly or monthly, depends on how you see it to be. But self-evaluation is very important in our lives. Number 2 tips, we must learn to set boundaries. Remember, it's all about self-development. It's not about the brother watching me. It's not about the sister watching me. It's about my very self. To a successful life, we need self-development. And number 2 tip is setting out boundaries. When I mean setting out boundaries, it's not about setting out boundaries for people, but setting out boundaries for yourself, for you not to cross the line. When you are able to set out boundaries for yourself, for you not to cross the line, I want to tell you, nobody can be able to cross the line, the boundaries you have set out for yourself. A lot of us, we are not able to set out boundaries. We have not been able to discover ourselves, to set out boundaries that will help us to really see how far we can go in life. It is good for us to set out boundaries. Look at your life. Have you been the one that is just taking everything, accepting everything, doing everything just the way you think is right, but deep down in your heart, you know is never right? But it's time for you to set out boundaries for yourself. You need to tell it to yourself, hey, Ade, I don't want to cross these boundaries because it's not going to help me to accomplish my goals. It's not going to help me to live a successful life. Setting out boundaries will help you to structure your life. It will help you to live the best life that you ever dreamt of. It will help you to speak when you need to speak. It will help you to know how to live daily. Set out boundaries just for yourself, because the boundaries you set for yourself, it will affect everyone around you positively, not in a negative form, but it will help people to really know where you belong or where you are standing. Because boundaries is good for our life. Boundaries will help us to know who we really are. Because as an individual, for you to identify yourself, you have to know what you can do. A lot of us, we don't know what we can do. We don't know what we can accept. We don't know what we're going to do the next minute. But when you're able to set out boundaries, you can be able to analyze yourself. You can be able to know who you really are. A lot of people, we don't know who we are because we don't have boundaries. But when you begin to set out boundaries, the very minute you begin to set out boundaries, you can be able to tell about yourself. You don't need to tell somebody about yourself because you have set out boundaries for yourself. People can be able to read you as a book. Do you know we all read books to gain knowledge? Your life is a book that someone needs to read and gain something out of it. But if your life is that book that is confusing, that don't have a beginning, nobody can read the ending of the book. The book doesn't have name. Then you have to sit down and think that it is time for me to set out boundaries so that people can know who I am. People can read me to improve their life, so that people can gain something out of my life. Remember, your life ought to be a blessing to someone out there. That is why setting out boundaries is not a bad thing, but it is something that will improve your own self, that will you are transmitting it to someone out there to gain something from your very life. That is the more reason why you must learn to set out boundaries. The very minute you start setting out boundaries, your life, your book will be easy to read, and people will find it interesting to read over and over, to know who you really are. Because a book that don't have a topic, have a name, you can't find it interesting to read. That is the more reason why I am telling you, setting out boundaries is a big one, is a broad one. But when you are setting out boundaries, people can know who you are, what you stand for, what you're doing. Is just like my platform is a motivational channel where I empower you and I empower myself. So this is what I'm talking about. You can be able to know what is going on about this person. So when you learn to set out boundaries, you can be able to live a dynamic life. You can be able to acquire, accomplish anything you have set out to acquire on the journey of success. Number 3, change. When you are able to set out boundaries, you will know where you are falling. You will know the things you need to change. That's where comes in number 1, evaluating yourself, restructuring yourself, scatter the pieces. Just look at yourself. Say, oh, how am I living? What are the things I am doing that is not according, that is not helping me to acquire the goals I need to acquire. When you are able to evaluate yourself, you are able to set out boundaries. You can be able to change the things that need changes in your life. Remember, every day of our life, we all need something in our life. What are the things that you need to change in your life? You can only change them if you are able to evaluate it and if you are able to set out boundaries. If you are able to read yourself, know who you are, the kind of life you want to live, the things you need in your life, how you want to live your life. When you are able to evaluate yourself, you are able to set out boundaries, telling yourself, hey, come on, Adeswa, I cannot cross the boundary that I have set for myself. When you are able to evaluate yourself, when you are able to set out boundaries, people can be able to read you and people can be able to gain something that is important in their life that they need to acquire through you. Like I said, lastly, change. Remember, change is a constant thing and we all need change in our life daily. Yes. There are some things I might have done. There are some things I didn't do well. I need to change it to improve myself to do it better. So change is something that we all need daily. But for we to acquire our goals, for we to acquire a successful life, we must learn to make change daily. It's a thing, it's a process. It's not a thing that you get tired of. It's a thing that you just keep changing. You just keep working on it because you have a goal. You have a destination. You want to acquire those goals, those beautiful dreams that you have ever dreamt of. And I want to encourage you today that when you are able to evaluate yourself, you are able to set out boundaries, you are able to change the things that you want to change. I want to tell you, the sky will be your limit. Don't be afraid to set out goals. Don't be afraid to set out boundaries. Don't be afraid to change the things that need to be changed. Don't be afraid to evaluate yourself. Nobody is perfect. You might have made mistakes, but when you're able to evaluate yourself, you can be able to see where you're falling. You can be able to make change, and you can be able to acquire that goal that you have set out to acquire. So, these are my little tips today on self-development. Don't forget to always evaluate yourself. Don't forget to set out boundaries that will make people to read you. They can read a book because a book that don't have a name is not interesting to read. You don't want to read a book that don't have meaning. You don't want to read a book that cannot improve your life. You don't want to read a book that does not add value to yourself. So when you're able to set out boundaries, you can be able to change the things that need to be changed in your life so that people can be able to know who you are, where you're going to, what are your goals, and how you want to live your life in a positive dimension. I will drop it here. To you watching, if you've not hit the subscribe button, please kindly smash the subscribe button for us. Put on our notification bell so that when we drop a new video, you will be number one to be aware of our videos. Remember, with my very self, gracefully, there is no dull moment. I love you, and I will catch you on my next video. Bye. God bless you. Shalom.